Alright, so let's get started here with our project, and in the last lesson we have just set up the basic, and today we're gonna set up the widgets. Alright, so to do this we have already done here. If you press play, press V, we already have our system capturing the logic. Just to give you some more context on this, you can do this as well. If you just right click, you do a key press, no, I think it's press key, no, input. Yeah, input, sorry. And then if you type input, you can select which key do you want to do this. So if I want to do, I don't know, something like if I press, where is it? Input H, oh, yeah, G for example, do that, and then press play, I will have the same thing. The reason why we did this is because you can map to your controller after, so you don't have to keep changing the key every time. But that's not the point, so let's just go back here and resume. So to do the next thing here, we're gonna create now a widget on the player here. So let's go back towards the player. Let's go backwards the blueprints here. Yeah, sure, let's create in blueprints as well. We're gonna create here a new folder called widget, right? And inside this folder widget, we're gonna right click and we're gonna create a new user interface, right? And this is going to be WP building menu, right? Cool. Let's save this, open up that, and now let's start the designer. So I'm going to do something very simple. So I'm going to find a canvas. So it's going to be a list with a button. You click on the button and then the part will appear so you can place it in the game. So it's nothing too crazy. Right. And then that's going to be available through API, so we can use the API to build that, which is going to be awesome, right? And then also, just to give you a little bit more context, we're going to build all those logics using actor component. The reason why is because if you create another character, it doesn't rely on your controller, it relies on a component, so you can reuse this multiple times. Okay, so let's put here a border. Let's find a border here, and here is the border. So I'm not sure the size that I want to, so I'm gonna do something like, I don't know, let's say 600 by 800, right? And cool, we're gonna attach this to that, which is fine. Don't need to worry about that too much. Right now it's white, so we're gonna change that in a second. Now we're gonna search for something called scroll box, so we can scroll inside our widget. So let's say you have 100 parts, you want to be able to scroll. That's going to be totally fine. In the future, you can even do something like a search box, but that's more in the future. Now what we're going to do that is we're going to change here the brush color, and I think the opacity, we're going to put something like 0.2, okay? So it is not that too strong. If you have your own designs, that's where you put your image in that, but we don't have a design yet, so we're just gonna have to work with those boxes. So let's start here the box. So we're gonna get a horizontal box, and in the horizontal box we're gonna have three main elements. We're gonna have the part name, sorry, the part icon, the name, and then the button, which is gonna be the action to place in the word. So we're gonna search for image. So we're gonna put an image in that. We're gonna search for text. We're gonna put a text in here, and we're gonna search here for a button, which is gonna be a button that's gonna trigger the action, and then inside the button we need a text, which is gonna be like something place or something. So we're gonna search here, and it's gonna call place, right? Let's align this button to the ending here, which is great. Let's add some padding in there. Let's add some padding. Let's put in like something around 10. Yeah, that's fine. And then the same button, should we put 10 as well? Yeah, that looks good. Looks good. Place. Nothing too crazy for now. Then the image, we could put field, but I'm just gonna leave it auto for now, and then we can check the size after. Right, so this is basically the logic of our widget. So we're gonna have the icon, the part name, and then the place here. So I'm gonna compile and save, which is amazing. Now we just gonna change here this to item. Just gonna rename it. The image, let's call icon. The text, if you don't know how to rename, just right click or press rename, or press F2 if you're on Windows, You can also rename if you're pressing that. So I'm just gonna rename this to part name, which is really good. And then what we're gonna do here is the place button, right? Then we're gonna be like that for now. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna create another widget, okay? And here we're gonna call WBP part item. And the reason why I'm creating widgets is because this thing's gonna be dynamic. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this item. Copy. I'm gonna come back in here. I am gonna paste, which is nice. So you see it's gonna be all weirded out. That's because of the size. So what we can do here is, let me check the desired. Yeah. So just leave here desired so it doesn't break the layout, so you know what you're working off. And now what we can do here is we can delete this item, can compile and save, and then we can search in the parts. Let me just save this here. We can search in here for WBP part item. You can bring it in there, and there you go. So you can copy and paste multiple times, and then as you can see, is gonna get very there's a lot of parts in here. So I'm gonna leave like this just so I can see how it's gonna look when I show up these widgets to the player. Right, so to do this, we're gonna close that, which is really good. On the player controller here, we gonna create 2 events in that. So this is when we boot the AI. So boot the player controller, right? I'm just gonna rename that. And now let's create the widget. So we're gonna create a custom event, and I'm gonna call toggle building widget, okay? And here we're gonna create a new variable called is building widget open. And yeah, it doesn't need to be public. We're gonna create here a branch from this, and here we go. And now that we have this event, we're gonna create 2 more events. We're gonna create a custom event. The first one's gonna be open building widget. And the next one, it's gonna copy and paste here and rename it, call close building widget, right? This is pretty standard. Right now, what we're gonna do here, if it's open, we're gonna set this to true. And then if it's false, we're gonna set this to false, of course. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create a widget. The widget that we wanna create is the building menu here. So we want to display the building menu. And now the next thing is that we want to create a reference. It's going to be the building widget ref. All right, which is amazing. Just going to save that. I'm going to make sure it's public, but I think you don't need to do that. And now what we can do here is add to viewport. And then what you can do here is get a self. So we're going to get a self. And what we can do is set game mode. So, and what we're gonna do here is set game mode and UI. So it shows the mouse. Hide the cursor, don't wanna hide the cursor. And the widgets that we wanna select, in this case, is this here, okay? And now what we can do here, that's fine. That's all we need to open the UI. And in here, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna get a widget. We're gonna make sure that is valid. Oh, let's use the other node here. Is valid. So it is valid. Then if this widget is valid, what we're going to do here is that we're gonna remove from the screen. So you're just gonna remove from parent. And this is really good. Cool. And now we need to set the game mode to whatever it was before. So we're gonna copy that self-reference, and then we're gonna call the node set game mode to input game only. And there we go. So we're gonna plug this here. Actually, let's do it like this. Just right click on the line, just so they stay in the same thing. So we can make it a little bit more organized in here. And now what we can do here is just we're gonna press C, say close UI, and in here we're gonna just make sure that is a little bit cleaner. So open UI, right? We just have one UI for now, so that's fine. All right, so if the widget is open, we're gonna call the close widget. If it's closed, we're gonna call open widget. Okay, that's good. And now let's test and let's see if this is working fine. So press V, nothing happened. This is because we have to set up the widget here. So instead of calling hello, we're just gonna call the toggle widget here. Let's see what happens. So if I press V, there we go. So I have my game up here, which is really good. Now you see that the mouse is not displaying, which is a little bit bad. So to display the mouse, you're gonna go to the open widget. So we go all this stuff, and what we can do is set cursor, no, mouse visibility. I'll just check here, set cursor. Yeah, there we go. Show mouse cursor. So we want to do here is set to true, and then when you disable, you just want to set this to false. The reason why you don't have to do something like that is because this is already part of the controller. So if I press play, shows the mouse hides here. Oh yeah, it doesn't hide because we didn't tick that box. And there we go, guys. So we have a very basic UI. I can expand this, and you can see how this is gonna place. So we're gonna press place, and then it's gonna show up in here. Place, 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 place. Every time you place, it will do something different. So yeah, once again, thank you very much for watching. This is all for this tutorial, for this lesson of the day. This is just so we can set up the widget, and in the next lesson we're gonna start to create the structure, and then from the structure we're gonna finally go to the logic of placing the part in the game. So thank you very much for watching, and I see you in the next one.